The lights in the Creative and Associates office flickered slightly as Mariana Silva saved the final revisions to the campaign presentation. She glanced at the clock on her computer screen. 7:30 p.m. on a Friday. She was still here while everyone else had already gone to Murphy's pub for happy hour. Her fingers ached from typing. Her eyes burned from staring at the screen for the past 10 hours. She grabbed her bag and coat, determined to enjoy what was left of her Friday night. The advertising agency office felt eerily quiet as she walked through the maze of cubicles toward the elevator. As she passed the executive offices, she noticed the light still on in the corner office of Rebecca Montgomery. Her heart did that annoying leap it always did when she thought about her boss. Rebecca Montgomery was everything Mariana found dangerously attractive. At 36, she had already carved out her space in the advertising world with innovative campaigns and creative genius. She was tall. With wavy brown hair she often pulled into an elegant bun when thinking, and deep brown eyes that seemed to see right through people. But it wasn't just her features that attracted Mariana. It was her passion for work, the way she treated everyone with respect regardless of position. In those rare moments when her professional demeanor cracked and Mariana glimpsed the real woman beneath the executive facade, her heart would race. Mariana shook her head as she entered the elevator. She needed to stop this ridiculous crush. Rebecca was her boss, completely out of her league, and probably dated models or successful businesswomen. She was just a marketing coordinator from modest origins, sharing a 2-bedroom apartment with her best friend Julia to afford rent in Manhattan. Murphy's pub was packed when Mariana arrived, the usual crowd of young professionals unwinding after a long week. She spotted Julia immediately at their usual corner table. 2 glasses of red wine were already waiting. "Mari!" Julia exclaimed, her dark eyes sparkling with excitement. "I thought you were going to completely stand me up." "Sorry, I had to finish that presentation for the Morrison account." Mariana slid into the booth and immediately took a long sip of wine. Warmth spread through her chest, relaxing muscles she didn't even know were tense. "You work too hard," Julia said, refilling Mariana's glass before she even asked. "You need to live a little, have some fun." The wine was smooth and potent, and Mariana found herself drinking faster than usual. The stress of the week melted away as she and Julia chatted about work gossip, weekend plans, and a disastrous date Julia had earlier in the week. "At least you're putting yourself out there," Mariana said, already feeling pleasantly buzzed from the alcohol. "My love life is non-existent." "That's because you're hung up on your boss," Julia teased, signaling the waiter to bring another bottle. "I'm not hung up on Rebecca," Mariana protested weakly, but even she didn't sound convincing. "You get this dreamy look every time you mention her. Just admit it." Mariana drained her 3rd glass of wine and felt her last inhibitions dissolve. "Okay, fine. Maybe I have a tiny crush on her." "Tiny?" Julia laughed. "Girl, you're completely gone for this woman. Tell me the truth. What is it about Rebecca Montgomery that has you so twisted up?" Maybe it was the wine, or maybe it was the need to finally express what she'd been keeping locked inside for months. But Mariana leaned forward, and the words began to pour out. "It's everything, Jules. The way she listens when people talk, really listens. How she remembers small details, like how I take my coffee, or that I mentioned my mom's birthday last month. She's brilliant but never makes anyone feel stupid. God, those eyes. Sometimes she looks at me during meetings, and I completely lose my train of thought." "Sounds serious," Julia said, her expression shifting from teasing to genuine concern. "Have you thought about telling her? Are you crazy? She's Rebecca Montgomery. She could have anyone. Why would she look twice at someone like me?" Mariana took another large gulp of wine. "Besides, I had a dream about her last week." "Ooh, a dream. Tell me everything." Mariana knew she should stop talking, that she was crossing a line, but the alcohol had completely loosened her tongue. "It was so vivid, Jules. We were working late, just the 2 of us in the office." She came over to my desk to look at something on my computer, standing so close I could smell her perfume. Then she turned to me and just kissed me. "And?" Julia prodded, completely engrossed. It was perfect. The way she touched me, so gentle but also passionate. Her hands in my hair, her lips on my neck. We ended up in her office, and she was so careful with me, asking if I was okay, making sure I wanted this. Mariana's cheeks burned, but she couldn't stop now. "The thing is, Jules, I've never felt this way about anyone. In the dream, it was like she could read my every thought, every desire. The way she looked at me, like I was precious to her. When I woke up, I was genuinely disappointed it wasn't real." Julia reached across and squeezed her hand. "Mari, that's beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with wanting that. But it's just a fantasy," Mariana said, her voice breaking slightly. "Women like Rebecca don't fall for women like me. She probably dates actresses or CEOs or women who have their lives together. I'm barely keeping my head above water with student loans and rent. What would someone like her see in someone like me? Stop putting yourself down. You're smart, talented, beautiful, and kind. Anyone would be lucky to have you. You have to say that. You're my best friend." Mariana laughed, but it came out sad and slightly bitter. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment below what city you're watching from. I want to know where you all are. But it doesn't matter anyway. Even if by some miracle she was interested, I couldn't do it. The power dynamic is all wrong. She's my boss. It would be complicated and probably end badly. I'd lose my job, my reputation, everything I've worked for. But what if things were different? What if she wasn't your boss? Mariana took another sip, her vision starting to blur slightly at the edges. If things were different, if I could choose exactly how I wanted it to be, who it would be with, it would be her. Someone who makes me feel safe and desired at the same time. Someone who would take care of me, make it special. She pressed her hands to her warm cheeks. God, I sound pathetic. You don't sound pathetic. You sound like someone who knows what they want. They continued drinking and talking, the conversation eventually drifting to other topics. But Mariana's confession hung in the air. She had no idea that her fantasy was about to become much more complicated than she ever imagined. What Mariana didn't know was that Rebecca Montgomery had indeed returned to the office to pick up documents she'd forgotten. On her way out, she decided to stop by Murphy's Pub to quickly greet her team before heading home. As she approached through the back hallway leading to the restrooms, she heard a familiar voice and stopped. It was Mariana. She didn't intend to eavesdrop. She was about to announce her presence when she heard her own name. Curiosity rooted her in place. And then Mariana began talking about the dream, about wanting Rebecca to be the person with whom she would share that intimate moment for the first time. Rebecca felt like she'd been struck by lightning. Mariana Silva, the brilliant young woman who blushed every time she praised her work, who bit her lower lip when concentrating, who had the most genuine smile she'd ever seen, wanted her. Not just wanted her, but had been fantasizing about her for months. Rebecca had been fighting her growing attraction to Mariana for a long time. It was inappropriate. She worked for her. She was 7 years older. She had convinced herself that Mariana probably only saw her as her boss, nothing more. She had dated several women since her broken engagement 3 years ago, but none of them had made her feel the way Mariana did. None of them had made her want to be better, work harder, arrive at the office early just for the chance to see her smile. Now, standing in the shadows of the hallway, listening to Mariana confess her deepest desires, something inside Rebecca shifted. She wanted her. She dreamed about her. And the way she described it, with such vulnerability and honesty, made her chest tighten with emotion. She quietly left the bar unseen, but her mind was racing. Everything had changed in that moment. She couldn't ignore this. couldn't pretend she hadn't heard, but she also couldn't rush in recklessly and complicate her life. Mariana deserved more than that. As she drove home that night, Rebecca made a decision. She was going to win Mariana Silva's heart, but she was going to do it the right way. She was going to show her it wasn't just a fantasy, that what she felt was real and lasting. She was going to prove she was worthy of the gift Mariana would be giving her. Monday morning was going to be very interesting. The weekend passed in a blur for Mariana, punctuated by a terrible hangover on Saturday and growing mortification as fragmented memories of Friday night returned. She remembered talking about Rebecca, remembered saying way too much. But Murphy's was crowded and noisy. Surely no one else had heard. She clung to that hope desperately. Monday morning came too quickly. Mariana dressed carefully in a navy dress that was professional but flattering, applied minimal makeup, and gave herself a stern talking to in the mirror. She would be professional, focused, and absolutely not think about her inappropriate dreams or her even more inappropriate drunken confession. The office buzzed with its usual Monday energy. Mariana settled at her desk, turned on her computer, and tried to lose herself in work. She was reviewing analytics reports when her phone rang. The internal line. Her stomach dropped when she saw the extension. Rebecca Montgomery. Mariana, this is Rebecca. Could you come to my office, please? I need to discuss the Morrison campaign with you. Her voice sounded normal, professional, exactly as always. Mariana relaxed slightly. Of course, Ms. Montgomery. I'll be there in a minute. She grabbed her tablet and campaign files, smoothed her dress, and walked to the executive floor. Rebecca's office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson River, modern furniture, and shelves filled with advertising awards. She was standing by the window when Mariana entered, hands in her pockets, looking at the skyline. You wanted to see me, Mariana said, proud that her voice came out steady. Rebecca turned, and the intensity in her brown eyes made Mariana's breath catch. Close the door, Mariana. She did, her heart suddenly racing. Is something wrong with the campaign? The campaign is great. In fact, your work on it was exceptional. She moved closer, and Mariana found herself backing up slightly until she hit the door. I want to talk about something else. About what? Mariana said slowly, confused by the change in her demeanor. I was at Murphy's pub Friday night, Rebecca said calmly, watching her face carefully. I came back to get some documents and decided to stop by quickly. Mariana's blood turned to ice. No, please no. I heard your conversation with Julia. Her voice was gentle, but the words hit her like a physical blow. I heard everything, Mariana. The room spun. Mariana couldn't breathe. She wanted the floor to open up and swallow her whole. Oh, God, she whispered, covering her face with her hands. I'm so sorry. I was drunk. I didn't mean any of it. I'll resign. I'll transfer to another department. Just please forget I said anything. Mariana, look at me. When she didn't move, Rebecca gently pulled her hands from her face. I don't want you to resign. I don't want you to transfer. And I definitely don't want to forget what you said. She finally looked at her, confused, terrified, and hopeful all at once. What? I need you to understand something. Rebecca's hand still held hers, warm and firm. For months, I've been telling myself that my feelings for you were inappropriate, that you were off limits because you work for me, that you probably only saw me as your boss, nothing more. I convinced myself the attraction was one-sided. Attraction, Mariana repeated faintly. A small smile played at the corners of her mouth. You really have no idea, do you? Mariana, I notice everything about you. The way you tap your pen 3 times before writing. How you close your eyes when you taste really good coffee. That little victory dance you do when you solve a problem. I come to work early just to see you before the office gets busy. I find excuses to walk past your desk. I've been completely captivated by you, and I've been fighting it because I didn't want to make you uncomfortable or abuse my position. Mariana felt tears burning in her eyes. You have feelings for me? More than feelings, Mariana. Hearing you say those things Friday night changed everything. Knowing that you want me too, that you trust me enough to fantasize about me. It was the most powerful thing anyone has ever said about me. And I want you to know, I take that seriously. I take you seriously. But I'm just a coordinator, your creative director. We're in completely different worlds. Same world, she corrected gently. We just have different job titles. That doesn't change how I feel about you or how you feel about me. Mariana's mind was spinning. I don't understand. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to take you to dinner. I want to get to know you outside this office. I want to see if this connection between us is as real as I think it is. She paused, her expression becoming more serious. But only if you want this too. And only if we can do this the right way. I won't have people thinking you advanced because of me. Your career is yours, and I'll make sure everyone knows that. This is crazy, Mariana whispered. But she was smiling now, hope blooming in her chest. Maybe. But sometimes the best things are a little crazy. Rebecca squeezed her hands. What do you say, Mariana? Will you have dinner with me? No pressure, no expectations. Just two people getting to know each other. Mariana looked into her eyes and saw nothing but sincerity and warmth. This was really happening. Rebecca Montgomery, the woman she'd been dreaming about for months, wanted to go out with her. Wanted her. Yes, she said softly. I'd like that very much. The smile that spread across Rebecca's face was radiant. Friday night? I know a quiet place where we won't run into anyone from the office. Friday sounds perfect. When Mariana left the office, she felt like she was floating. Her embarrassing confession had somehow led to this miraculous moment. But as the elevator descended back to her floor, reality began to seep in. This was her boss. There would be complications, challenges, potential disaster. Could she really risk everything for a chance at something that might not even work out? But then she remembered the way Rebecca had looked at her, the gentleness in her voice, the promise in her eyes. Maybe some risks were worth taking. Maybe some dreams were meant to come true. The week leading up to Friday felt like the longest of Mariana's life. She went through the motions at work, maintaining professionalism during meetings and interactions with Rebecca. But beneath the surface, anticipation simmered constantly. Every email from her made her pulse quicken. Every accidental brush of hands when passing documents sent electricity through her skin. Julia, of course, was completely thrilled when Mariana finally told her what had happened. I can't believe she actually heard you and then asked you out. This is like something out of a movie, Julia squealed as they rifled through Mariana's closet Thursday night, trying to find the perfect outfit. It still doesn't feel real, Mariana admitted, holding up a black dress before rejecting it as too formal. What if it's all a mistake? What if we have dinner and realize we have nothing in common outside of work? Or what if you have an amazing time and this turns into something wonderful? Julia countered, pulling out a deep burgundy dress Mariana had forgotten she owned. This one. It's elegant but not trying too hard. Friday finally arrived, and Mariana left work at 5 p.m. sharp, rushing home to get ready. She showered, styled her light brown hair in loose waves, applied makeup with a careful hand, and slipped on the burgundy dress. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she barely recognized the confident woman staring back. Rebecca picked her up at 7 p.m., and Mariana's breath caught when she opened the door. She wore dark jeans and a charcoal gray sweater that made her brown eyes look almost green. She looked younger, more relaxed than in her usual business attire. You look stunning, she said, her gaze appreciative but respectful. Thank you. You look beautiful too. The restaurant she'd chosen was intimate and tucked away on a quiet street in Brooklyn, the kind of place locals knew but tourists never found. They were seated at a corner table with soft candlelight and fresh flowers. Conversation flowed surprisingly easily. They talked about their childhoods, their families, their dreams. Mariana discovered that Rebecca had lost her father when she was 25 and had to help her mother navigate the financial aftermath. She had worked 2 jobs while finishing her degree, building her career from scratch despite people assuming her success came from privilege. "People see the title and the office and make assumptions," Rebecca said, swirling her wine glass. "They don't see the years of 18-hour days, the sacrifices, the failures along the way." "I never assumed that," Mariana said softly. "I've always admired how hard you work, how you treat everyone with dignity. That doesn't come from privilege. It comes from character." Something shifted in Rebecca's expression, a vulnerability she'd never seen before. "That means more to me than you know." As dinner progressed, the conversation became more personal. Rebecca asked about her family, and Mariana found herself opening up about growing up with a single mother who worked 3 jobs to support her and her younger brother. "Mom sacrificed everything for us," Mariana said, emotion tightening her throat. "She never complained, never made us feel like we were a burden. When I got the scholarship to college, she cried for an hour. That's why this job means so much to me. It's my chance to build something, to make her sacrifices worth it." Rebecca reached across and took her hand. "Your mother raised an incredible woman. You should be proud of where you came from." "Sometimes I feel like an imposter here, you know? Everyone went to prestigious schools, has connections, comes from money. I'm just a girl from upstate trying to figure it all out." "Mariana, you earned your place at Creative and Associates. Your work speaks for itself. The Morrison campaign proposal you developed was the best I've seen in years. You have instinct and creativity that can't be taught." She squeezed her hand gently. "Never let anyone make you feel lesser, including yourself." The intensity in Rebecca's voice made Mariana's eyes well up. "Thank you for saying that." "I'm not just saying it. It's what I truly think." After dinner, Rebecca suggested a walk through Central Park. The autumn New York air was crisp, and when Mariana shivered slightly, Rebecca immediately took off her jacket and draped it over her shoulders. The gesture was so naturally protective, it made her heart ache. They walked in comfortable silence for a while before Rebecca spoke again. "I need to be honest with you about something." Mariana's stomach tightened. "Okay. 3 years ago, I was engaged. Her name was Caroline Mitchell. She came from old money, moved in the right circles, looked perfect on paper. We were together for 2 years, and I thought I loved her. I thought we were building a future together." She paused, her jaw tightening. "One day, I came home from work early and found her in bed with someone else, a coworker of hers. Rebecca, I'm so sorry. That's horrible." She didn't even deny it, said I was emotionally unavailable, that all I cared about was work, that the only interesting thing about me was my bank account and connections. Rebecca's voice was controlled, but Mariana could hear the underlying pain. The worst part was realizing she was partially right. I had been emotionally unavailable. I buried myself in work to avoid real intimacy. The betrayal hurt, but the bigger wake-up call was recognizing my own role in the failure. She stopped walking and turned to face her. "That's why these past few months with you have been so different. You make me want to be present, to open up, to take risks. You scare me, Mariana, because you make me feel things I swore I wouldn't feel again." Mariana felt tears streaming down her cheeks. "You scare me too." "All of this scares me. You're my boss, Rebecca. The power dynamic, the potential for disaster, what people will think. It's terrifying." "I know. If you want to walk away now, I'll understand. We can go back to being just colleagues, and I'll never mention this again." She held her face gently, wiping away her tears with her thumbs. "But I really hope you don't want to walk away. I think we could have something real here, something worth fighting for." Mariana looked into her eyes and saw her own fear and hope reflected back. "I don't want to walk away, but I need time, Rebecca. I need to know this is real, that it's not just excitement or forbidden attraction. I need to protect myself. I understand, and I promise I'm in no rush. We'll go at whatever pace feels right for you." They continued walking, hands intertwined now, and talked for hours. When Rebecca finally drove her back to her apartment, she made no move to kiss her beyond a gentle brush of lips on her forehead. "Thank you for tonight," she said softly, "for giving this a chance. Thank you for being patient with me." The following weeks established a pattern. Rebecca took Mariana on dates, real dates, where they explored the city, tried new restaurants, went to art galleries and concerts. At work, they maintained strict professionalism, but Mariana could feel her eyes during meetings, could sense the unspoken connection vibrating between them. 1 month into dating, Creative and Associates landed a major client that required a presentation in Boston. Rebecca requested that Mariana accompany her, citing her expertise on the account. The trip was approved without question. Her work truly justified her presence. They flew out on a Wednesday morning, and the client presentation that afternoon was flawless. Mariana's contributions impressed everyone in the room, and when they left the meeting, Rebecca was beaming with pride. "You were phenomenal in there," she said as they headed back to the hotel. "The way you handled their objections, how you adjusted the strategy on the fly, that was masterful." "I learned from the best," Mariana said, blushing with pleasure at the praise. They had separate rooms, of course, maintaining propriety. But that evening, Rebecca knocked on her door and asked if she wanted to have dinner with her. They found a cozy Italian restaurant near the hotel, and over pasta and wine, the conversation became more serious. "Mariana, I need to tell you something," Rebecca began, her expression intense. "These past 6 weeks with you have been the happiest of my life. Not because of grand gestures or expensive dates, but because of the small moments. The way you laugh at my terrible jokes, how you get excited about new ideas, the texts you send me in the middle of the day just to see how I am." She paused, her eyes searching Mariana's. "I'm falling in love with you, and it's both exhilarating and terrifying." Mariana set her fork down, her heart racing. "I'm falling in love with you too, Rebecca. I'm still scared. What if the novelty wears off? What if this doesn't work out, and we've risked everything? What if it does work out and we spend the rest of our lives regretting not giving it a chance?" She countered gently. "I can't promise everything will be perfect or that we won't face challenges. But I can promise I'll always be honest with you, that I'll always respect you, and that I'll fight for us every single day." Mariana felt something open inside her chest, the last wall of resistance crumbling. "I want to believe that. I want to trust this." "Then trust it. Trust me. Trust yourself." Rebecca reached across the table and took both her hands. "You know what I'm going to do next week? I'm going to recommend you for a promotion to senior marketing strategist. It's a position you more than deserve, comes with a significant raise and your own team, and I'm going to recommend that you report directly to Michael Santos instead of to me." Mariana's eyes widened. "You're removing yourself from my direct chain of command?" "Yes. That way there can be no question about your professional advancement being tied to our personal relationship. Your career is yours, Mariana. I'll never let anyone diminish your accomplishments." The gesture was so thoughtful, so protective of her reputation and autonomy, that Mariana felt tears welling up again. "That's the most romantic thing anyone has ever done for me," Rebecca smiled. "I meant what I said. I want to do this the right way." That night, lying in her hotel bed, Mariana realized she had made a decision. She was tired of being afraid, tired of holding back. Rebecca had proven time and again that she was serious about her, that she valued her, that she saw her as an equal partner despite their professional differences. She wanted to take the leap. The next morning, before their flight back, Mariana knocked on Rebecca's hotel room door. When she opened it, clearly fresh from the shower with damp hair and wearing jeans and a t-shirt, Mariana didn't give herself time to overthink. "I love you," she said simply. "I'm tired of being afraid, tired of holding back. I love you, Rebecca Montgomery, and I want to be with you, really be with you." The smile that broke across Rebecca's face was radiant. She pulled Mariana into the room, closed the door with her foot, and kissed her for the first time without hesitation, without restraint. It was everything Mariana had imagined and more. Passion, tenderness, and promise all wrapped up in one perfect moment. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Rebecca pressed her forehead to hers. "I love you too. God, Mariana, I love you so much." They spent the rest of the morning in her room, talking, kissing, and planning their future. Rebecca wanted to make the relationship public soon, but Mariana convinced her to wait a few more weeks until after her promotion was announced and finalized. "I want there to be no doubt that I earned this on my own merit," she explained. "There won't be. Everyone who matters knows how talented you are." She agreed to wait, respecting her wishes. The flight back felt different. They sat together in business class, and though they maintained appropriate distance, there was a new ease between them, an established certainty that wasn't there before. Back at the office, the promotion came exactly as Rebecca had promised. Mariana's new position was announced at Monday morning's meeting, and the congratulations from her colleagues seemed genuine. She had earned this. Her work, her dedication, her talent had brought her here. With the professional complications resolved, Rebecca became bolder in courting her. She sent flowers to her apartment, texted sweet messages throughout the day, took her on weekend trips upstate, met Julia officially and completely charmed her, introduced Mariana to her mother, Patricia, who welcomed her warmly, and later told Rebecca that Mariana was exactly the kind of woman she always hoped she'd find. 2 months into their official relationship, Mariana finally felt ready to take the final step. "I want us to spend a weekend together," Mariana said quietly on a Saturday night as they cuddled on Rebecca's couch watching a movie. "Really together. Just the two of us, away from everything." Rebecca pulled back to look at her, her expression serious. "Are you sure? There's no rush, Mariana. We have all the time in the world." "I'm sure. I love you. I trust you. And I want this." She kissed Mariana softly. "Then we'll make it perfect. I promise." Rebecca planned everything carefully. 2 weeks later, she told Mariana to pack a bag for the weekend. She wouldn't say where they were going, just that she should bring comfortable clothes and something nice for dinner. She picked her up Saturday morning, and they drove 2 hours north to a charming inn nestled in the Berkshire Mountains. The property was secluded, romantic, with stunning views and complete privacy. "It's beautiful," Mariana sighed as they checked in. Their suite had a fireplace, a king-size bed with plush linens, and a balcony overlooking the valley. Rebecca had arranged for rose petals and champagne, but somehow it didn't feel cliché. It felt perfect. They spent the day hiking through autumn foliage, holding hands and talking about everything and nothing. Rebecca was attentive without being overbearing, affectionate without pressuring her. When they returned to the suite to dress for dinner, Mariana felt completely at ease. Dinner at the inn's restaurant was intimate and delicious. They sat by a window as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Rebecca reached across the table and took her hand. "I want you to know something," she said seriously. "Whatever happens or doesn't happen tonight, I love you. That won't change. There's no pressure, no expectation. We go at your pace, always." Mariana squeezed her hand. That's why I'm ready. After dinner, they walked back to the suite under a canopy of stars. Inside, Rebecca had lit the fireplace, and soft music played from a speaker. The room glowed with warmth and possibility. Mariana turned to face her, her heart racing, but her mind calm. I love you, she said, and I want this. I want you. Rebecca held her face tenderly. I love you too, and I promise I'll take care of you. What followed was everything Mariana had dreamed of and more. Rebecca was patient and gentle, constantly checking in with her, making sure she was comfortable. Every touch was reverent. Every kiss was a promise. When there was a moment of hesitation, she paused, kissed Mariana, whispered reassurances. When nervousness gave way to pleasure, she guided her through it with reverence and passion. Afterward, they lay intertwined together in the firelight, and Mariana had never felt so complete, so loved, so certain of anything in her life. Thank you, she whispered against Rebecca's chest, for waiting, for making this perfect, for loving me. Thank you for trusting me, she replied, kissing the top of her head. I'll spend the rest of my life proving I was worthy of it. They spent the entire weekend at the inn, making love, talking, dreaming about the future. When they returned to New York Sunday evening, something fundamental had changed. They weren't just dating. They were building a life together. But not everyone was happy about their relationship. 2 weeks after the mountain weekend, Rebecca's ex-fiancée Caroline showed up at Creative and Associates unannounced. Mariana was working at her desk when Rebecca's assistant rushed over to her, looking flustered. Mariana, there's a situation. You should probably go to Rebecca's office. Confused, Mariana hurried to the executive floor. Through the glass walls of Rebecca's office, she could see her standing rigid, facing a stunning blonde woman in an expensive designer suit. Even from outside, Mariana could see the tension. She knocked and entered. Both Rebecca and the woman turned to look at her. Mariana, this is Caroline Mitchell, Rebecca said tensely. Caroline, this is Mariana Silva, my girlfriend. Caroline's cold blue eyes swept over Mariana with disdain. So you're the new project. How cute. Caroline, you need to leave, Rebecca said firmly. We have nothing to discuss. Oh, but we do. I've been hearing rumors about you and your little coordinator here. People are talking, Rebecca, saying you're having a midlife crisis, slumming it with an employee. Not a good look. Mariana felt anger course through her. I'm not a project or anyone's midlife crisis, and I'm not a coordinator anymore. I'm senior marketing strategist. How convenient, Caroline said with a fake smile. I'm sure that promotion had nothing to do with sleeping with the boss. Enough. Rebecca's voice was sharp as a whip. Mariana earned her promotion before we started dating, and even if she hadn't, her talent speaks for itself. You need to leave now, Caroline, before I call security to escort you out. I'm just trying to help you, Rebecca. This girl is going to ruin your reputation. She's using you to get ahead, and everyone can see it except you. Mariana felt tears of anger and humiliation burning behind her eyes, but she refused to let them fall in front of this woman. You don't know anything about me or our relationship, and you clearly don't know Rebecca very well if you think she can be used or manipulated. Caroline laughed coldly. Sweetheart, I was with her for 2 years. I know exactly how this works. She'll get bored, you'll get clingy, and it'll end messily. Save yourself the headache and leave now. The only one leaving is you, Rebecca said, her voice ice cold. I loved you once, Caroline. Or at least I thought I did. But I realize now I never really knew what love was until I met Mariana. She sees me for who I really am, not for what I can do for her. She challenges me, supports me, makes me want to be better. That's something you never did and never could do. Caroline's perfect composure cracked slightly. You're going to regret this. You're throwing everything away for a girl who's not even in your league. She's not in my league, Rebecca agreed. "She's way above it. Now get out." Caroline stormed out in a fury of expensive perfume and wounded pride. The moment the door closed behind her, Rebecca pulled Mariana into her arms. "I'm sorry you had to deal with that," she said into her hair. "Are you okay?" Mariana pulled back to look at her. "I'm fine. But Rebecca, she's right about one thing. People are going to talk. They're going to assume things about me, about us. Let them talk. Anyone who matters knows the truth. And anyone who doesn't know the truth doesn't matter." She kissed her forehead. "I meant what I said to her. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm not going to hide that or apologize for it." "I love you," Mariana said, the last traces of doubt finally evaporating. "And I don't care what people say. This is real, and it's worth fighting for." That evening, Rebecca made a bold decision. She scheduled an all-company meeting for Monday morning and announced their relationship publicly. "I want everyone to know that Mariana Silva and I are in a relationship," she said clearly, Mariana by her side. "This relationship began after Mariana's promotion and transfer out of my direct chain of command. Her professional accomplishments are hers, and have nothing to do with our personal involvement. Mariana is one of the most talented strategists this company has, and I expect her to be treated with the respect she deserves. If anyone has questions or concerns about potential conflicts of interest, my door is always open." The announcement sent ripples through the office, but the response was largely positive. Most of their colleagues had already suspected, and many congratulated them. Those who whispered or made snide comments quickly found themselves silenced by others who had witnessed Mariana's work ethic and results. Life settled into a new normal. Mariana moved into Rebecca's penthouse apartment in the Upper West Side after 3 months of dating. They worked hard during the week and spent weekends exploring the city, visiting Mariana's mother upstate, having dinners with friends. They were building a life together, one that felt solid, real, and lasting. 6 months into their relationship, on a spring evening in May, Rebecca took Mariana back to the inn in the Berkshires, where they'd spent that first weekend together. They had dinner at the same table by the window, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. After dessert, Rebecca stood and moved around the table. Mariana's breath caught as she knelt, pulling a small velvet box from her pocket. "Mariana Silva, you came into my life and changed everything. You taught me what true love feels like, what partnership means, what it's like to be seen and valued for who I really am. I want to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you've made me. Will you marry me?" Through tears of joy, Mariana nodded. Yes, of course, yes." The ring was perfect, a simple platinum band with a brilliant diamond that caught the twilight. Rebecca slipped it on her finger, then stood and kissed her as the entire restaurant erupted in applause. They decided on a year-long engagement, wanting to savor every moment of planning and anticipation. Mariana's mother cried with joy when they told her. Patricia Montgomery hugged Mariana and officially welcomed her into the family. Julia screamed so loud when Mariana showed her the ring that the neighbors complained. The engagement party Rebecca threw was elegant but warm, filled with family, friends, and colleagues who genuinely celebrated their love. Even the skeptics had been won over by now. Seeing how Rebecca and Mariana balanced and complemented each other, how both had grown and flourished in their relationship. During the party, Mariana found herself on the terrace overlooking the city lights. Rebecca came up behind her, wrapping her arms around her waist. "Happy?" she murmured into her hair. "Happier than I ever thought possible," she replied, leaning back into her. "Sometimes I still can't believe this is real. That drunken confession that night at Murphy's led to all of this." "The best thing you ever said," Rebecca said with a laugh. "Though I wish you told me directly instead of me having to eavesdrop." "Where's the fun in that?" Mariana teased, turning in her arms to face her. "Besides, if I'd told you directly, you might have thought I was crazy or inappropriate. The fact that you overheard my honest feelings to my best friend made it real. You knew I wasn't trying to seduce my boss or climb any ladder. You knew it was genuine. It was the most genuine thing anyone has ever said about me, Rebecca agreed, kissing her softly. You loved me before you knew I heard. You loved me without expecting anything in return. That's when I knew you were special. We're both special, Mariana corrected. We're special together. The wedding took place the following May in a beautiful garden ceremony. Mariana wore a simple but elegant lace dress, her hair pinned up with small flowers woven through. Rebecca was devastatingly handsome in her tailored white suit. And when Mariana walked down the aisle with her mother, Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. Their vows were personal and heartfelt. Rebecca promised to always value Mariana's independence and support her dreams. Mariana promised to always challenge Rebecca and keep her grounded. They promised to face whatever came together as partners and equals. The reception was a joyful celebration filled with laughter, dancing, and love. Julia gave a hilarious maid of honor speech that left the entire room in tears from laughing, including the part about Mariana's drunken confession that had started it all. To think it all started because my best friend drank too much wine and couldn't keep her mouth shut, Julia said, raising her glass. Here's to loose lips and eavesdropping bosses. May they live happily ever after. As Mariana and Rebecca danced their first dance as wives, Mariana reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From that mortifying confession to this perfect moment, every step had been worth it. Every fear she'd overcome, every risk she'd taken, every moment of vulnerability had led to this incredible love. What are you thinking about? Rebecca asked, pulling her closer. I'm thinking about how I almost let fear stop me from having this, from having you. But you didn't. You were brave enough to give it a chance. We both were, Mariana corrected. You were just as scared as I was. But you kept showing up, kept proving this was real. You fought for us. And I'll keep fighting for us every day for the rest of our lives, Rebecca promised. That's what you do when you find something this precious. You hold on tight and never let go. As they swayed together under the twinkling lights, surrounded by everyone they loved, Mariana knew this was just the beginning. They had overcome so many obstacles to get here: professional complications, personal insecurities, external judgment. But they'd done it together, building a foundation of trust, respect, and genuine love. The months after the wedding were one of constant bliss. They settled into a comfortable routine, sharing household responsibilities, supporting each other in their careers, and making time for spontaneous weekend adventures. Mariana continued to thrive professionally. Her team at Creative and Associates had grown, and her campaigns were consistently winning awards. Rebecca also reached new heights, being named managing director of the agency, a position she'd been aiming for years. They became known in the office not just as a couple, but as a powerful professional duo. When they worked together on projects, the synergy between them was undeniable. Rebecca's creative vision combined with Mariana's strategic thinking produced extraordinary results. A year after the wedding, during a quiet dinner at home, Mariana brought up a subject she'd been thinking about for months. Becca, have you thought about us having children? Rebecca paused with her fork in midair, her eyes seeking Mariana's. I have been thinking about it. A lot, actually. Do you want to? I do, Mariana said softly. I want to build a family with you. I want to have a child who grows up seeing two examples of strong, independent women who love and support each other. Rebecca's face lit up with a radiant smile. I want that too, more than I ever imagined I would. They began the family planning process, researching options, talking to other LGBTQ+ families, and carefully choosing the best approach for them. They decided Mariana would be the one to carry first, and after months of preparation and treatments, she finally received the news they'd been waiting for. I'm pregnant, she told Rebecca on a Sunday morning. holding the positive test with trembling hands. Rebecca picked her up and spun her around, tears of joy streaming down her face. "We're having a baby. We're having a baby." The pregnancy was both magical and challenging. Rebecca was incredibly attentive, attending every doctor's appointment, reading every book about pregnancy and childbirth she could find, and making sure Mariana was comfortable and cared for. At work, they announced the pregnancy together, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. The team threw a beautiful baby shower, and even some of the more conservative colleagues were genuinely happy for them. During the last months of pregnancy, as Mariana became increasingly uncomfortable, Rebecca became even more protective. She worked from home whenever possible to be near her, massaged her swollen feet at night, and read to their baby through her belly. "You're going to be an amazing mom," Mariana said one night, lying together in bed, Rebecca's hand resting on her belly. "We're going to be amazing moms," Rebecca corrected, together. When labor began early one June morning, Rebecca was by her side through every contraction, every breath, every moment of birth, and when they finally held their daughter, Emma, for the first time, they both cried tears of absolute joy. "She's perfect," Rebecca whispered, looking at the baby with wonder. "She is," Mariana agreed, exhausted but radiant. "She really is." The first months of motherhood were intense and wonderful. They took turns with night feedings, diaper changes, and endless rocking sessions. Rebecca took extended parental leave, using every second to be present for Mariana and Emma. Julia was a devoted aunt, showing up regularly with home-cooked meals and offering to babysit so the two could have time together. Mariana's mother moved to New York for a few weeks to help, and Patricia was constantly present, delighted with her first granddaughter. Watching Rebecca with Emma was one of Mariana's greatest joys. She saw the strong, confident woman she knew at work completely melt when holding their daughter, singing lullabies softly and making silly faces to make her smile. 5 years after that fateful night at Murphy's Pub, Mariana stood in Emma's room in their Upper West Side home, gently rocking their 3-year-old daughter to sleep. Rebecca came up behind her, wrapping her arms around both of them. "She's perfect," she whispered, looking at their daughter with wonder. "She is," Mariana agreed softly. "Just like her mom's." "She has your strength," Rebecca said, kissing Mariana's temple. "Her brilliant, brave, incredible mother who had the courage to give love a chance, even when she was scared." Mariana thought about that night at the bar, the confession she never intended Rebecca to hear, the journey that brought them from that moment to this. She had gained so much more than she ever dreamed possible. A career she loved, a partner who valued and supported her, a family of her own, and a love story that defied all her expectations. "I'd do it all again," she said quietly, watching Emma's little chest rise and fall with each peaceful breath. Every scary moment, every challenge, every risk. "I'd do it all again without thinking twice." "Me too," Rebecca said, her voice thick with emotion. "The best decision I ever made was going after you. The best thing that ever happened to me was you loving me back." As they stood together in the soft glow of the nightlight, their daughter sleeping peacefully in Mariana's arms, she felt a profound gratitude. Life had given her more than she ever dared to hope for. They carefully placed Emma in her crib and quietly stepped into the hallway. In their bedroom, Rebecca pulled Mariana into her arms. "You know what I realized today?" Rebecca said, running her fingers through Mariana's hair. "What?" "It's been exactly 5 years since that night. 5 years since I heard you confess your feelings to Julia." Mariana laughed softly. 5 years. It feels like a lifetime and also like it was yesterday. The drunk girl confessing her fantasy to her best friend had no idea what she was setting in motion, Rebecca said, smiling. "But the woman you've become is grateful for every moment of the journey." "So grateful," Mariana agreed, kissing her softly. In the months that followed, life continued its happy rhythm. Emma grew quickly, her personality blossoming each day. She had Rebecca's brown eyes and Mariana's radiant smile, and was fiercely loved by both mothers. At work, Mariana had been promoted again, now Director of Strategy at Creative and Associates. She and Rebecca led the agency together, a professional partnership that had become legendary in the industry. Their campaigns won international awards, and other agencies frequently sought them out for consulting. But more important than any professional success was the family they'd built. On weekends, they took Emma to the park, taught her about the world, laughed at her precocious observations about everything. Julia remained a constant presence in their lives. Now married and expecting her own first child, the four of them often had dinner together, reminiscing about the days before children, before marriage, when everything was new and exciting. "Remember that night at Murphy's?" Julia said one of those evenings, sipping her non-alcoholic wine. "When you were completely drunk and couldn't stop talking about Rebecca?" Mariana groaned, covering her face with her hands. "Please don't remind me. I still die of embarrassment thinking about it." "You shouldn't," Rebecca said, pulling her hands from her face and kissing her. "It was the best gift I ever received. Your honest, unfiltered feelings, straight from the heart. That's when I knew it was real." "You two are impossibly cute," Julia said, rolling her eyes affectionately. "Who knew my drunk, rambling best friend would end up with the woman of her dreams? And living happily ever after," Julia's wife, Camila, added with a smile. Later that night, after their guests had left and Emma was asleep, Mariana and Rebecca sat on the terrace of their apartment, looking at the city lights twinkling below. "What are you thinking about?" Rebecca asked, draping her arm around Mariana's shoulders. "I'm thinking about how strange life is. How one moment of drunken vulnerability can lead to all of this." She gestured to the view, to the apartment behind them, to the life they'd built. "If you hadn't gone to the bar that night, if you hadn't overheard my confession, none of this would have happened." "I disagree," Rebecca said softly. "I think we would have found our way to each other eventually. Some people are just meant to meet." "Do you believe in destiny?" "I believe in us. I believe what we have is rare and precious. And I believe that no matter how it happened, we would have found each other." She kissed the side of Mariana's head. "Because you're my person, Mari. You always were. You always will be." Mariana nestled closer, feeling the truth of those words resonate in her chest. "You're my person, too." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, simply enjoying each other's company and the life they'd built together. "Becca?" Mariana said finally. "Yes?" "I'm thinking. Maybe it's time we gave Emma a little brother or sister. What do you think?" Rebecca pulled back to look at her, surprised and excited. "Really? You want another baby?" "I do. Our family is perfect, but I think there's room for more love. And this time," she smiled, "maybe it's your turn to carry our baby." Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. "I would love that. I would love to carry our child." They kissed softly, sealing another promise, another chapter in their ongoing love story. The following years brought more changes and growth. Rebecca got pregnant after a few months of trying, and 9 months later, they welcomed their son, Noah. Emma was absolutely enchanted with her little brother, taking on the role of protective big sister with adorable seriousness. With 2 children, life became even more chaotic and wonderful. There were sleepless nights, endless diapers, occasional tantrums, and constant exhaustion. But there was also endless laughter, spontaneous hugs, first words and first steps, and a love that seemed to expand infinitely. At work, Mariana and Rebecca found ways to balance their demanding careers with motherhood. They worked from home when possible, brought the kids to the office when necessary, and supported each other through the inevitable challenges of being working mothers. Mariana's mother moved permanently to New York, providing invaluable support with the children. Patricia was a present and loving grandmother, constantly spoiling the grandchildren with gifts and attention. As the children grew, Mariana often found herself reflecting on the journey that brought them here. From that embarrassing night at the bar to this moment, every decision, every risk, every moment of vulnerability had been worth it. Folks, we've reached the end of this beautiful story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories like this, and comment below. What was your favorite part of the story? I want to know what touched you most. One night, years later, when Emma was 7 and Noah was 4, the family was gathered in the living room. The children were playing with building blocks while Mariana and Rebecca prepared dinner. "Mom, Becca!" Emma called suddenly. "How did you two meet?" Rebecca and Mariana exchanged an amused look. "Well," Rebecca began, smiling, "your mom Mari worked for me at an advertising company, and Mom Becca was my boss," Mariana added. "But how did you fall in love?" Emma insisted, always curious. Mariana laughed. "That's a long story, sweetheart. But the short version is that Mommy had a very silly night with Aunt Julia, said some things she shouldn't have said, and Mom Becca overheard." "What things?" Noah asked, always wanting the details. "Things about how I thought Mom Becca was incredible," Mariana said, blushing slightly even after all these years. "And was she?" Emma asked, looking at Rebecca adoringly. "Is," Mariana corrected. "She's incredible, and finding out she thought I was incredible too was the best surprise of my life." Rebecca moved closer and kissed the top of Mariana's head. "We fell in love," she said simply. "And we decided it was worth fighting for that love. And we're so glad we fought, because now we have you two." "I'm glad too," Emma said seriously. "You're the best moms in the world." "Me too," Noah added, not wanting to be left out. That night, after the children were in bed, Mariana and Rebecca found themselves again on the terrace, their favorite place for quiet conversations. "You know," Mariana said, cuddling against Rebecca, "sometimes I think about that scared girl who was so terrified of taking risks, who thought love like this was just fantasy. And now I know love like this is real. It's work, it's commitment, it's choosing the same person every day even when it's hard. But it's also magical. It's finding someone who sees you completely and loves you because of it, not despite it." Rebecca held her tighter. "You taught me that. Before you, I thought love was about being perfect, about not showing weakness. You showed me that true love means being vulnerable, being honest, being completely yourself." "We taught each other that," Mariana said. "That's what makes it special." They sat in silence for a long moment, appreciating the peace of the night and the solidity of the love they'd built. "Mari?" Rebecca said finally. "Yes? Thank you." "For what?" "For that night at the bar. For being drunk and honest. For giving me the chance to love you. For building this beautiful life with me." Her voice was thick with emotion. "For everything." Mariana turned in her arms, cupping her hands around Rebecca's face. "Thank you for listening. For being brave enough to act on what you heard. For loving me the way I always dreamed of being loved." They kissed. A kiss that contained years of love, commitment, and gratitude. A kiss that promised many more years ahead. When they finally pulled apart, they were both smiling. "Ready for bed?" Rebecca asked. "Always," Mariana replied, taking her hand. As they walked back inside, passing the children's room where Emma and Noah slept peacefully, Mariana felt a wave of deep contentment. Their story had begun with a drunken confession and an eavesdropping boss. It had grown through risks, vulnerability, and brave choices, and it had blossomed into something more beautiful than she ever could have imagined. Their love wasn't just about passion or romance, though it had both in abundance. It was about partnership, respect, and unwavering commitment. It was about two women who had found each other across divides of circumstance and position, chosen each other despite complications, and built something real and lasting through honesty and hard work. That drunk girl confessing her fantasy to her best friend had no idea what she was setting in motion. But the woman she became was grateful for every moment of the journey. Mariana had learned that love wasn't about fantasy. It was about finding someone who saw you completely, flaws, fears, and all, and chose to love you anyway. It was about partnership, respect, and showing up for each other day after day. It was about building a life together, one small moment at a time, until those moments became a beautiful life story. And as Rebecca pulled her close in their bed, kissing her with the same passion and tenderness she'd shown from the beginning, Mariana knew their story was far from over. This wasn't an ending. It was a continuation of a love that would last forever. Born from an accidental confession and grown into something extraordinary. She had dreamed about Rebecca once, but reality was so much better than any dream could be. And as she fell asleep in the arms of the woman she loved, surrounded by the family they'd created together, Mariana smiled. Because she knew, with absolute certainty, that this was just another beautiful page in a story that would continue to unfold for many, many years to come. A love built on truth, trust, and the courage of two women who refused to let fear stop them from reaching for the happiness they deserved. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.